Very nice.
Something like that.
Nice. Good deal. So, here we are at Island Music. I am Jack.
I'm Tim.
Cool. We're both sales guys here. We're going to try and do a cool little video series, just talking about going over gear, what people are interested in, and some cool stuff that just comes in the shop that we want to try and, show off to people that maybe don't get a chance to come into the store every day and look at everything. Today's video, we have a lot of guitars that look alike. And you get, every so often someone will come through the door and it's like, that plays just like that one, or it looks just like that one. I'm not interested in it. But it's important to note that as well as they may all, look the same and have similar features, they play, feel, sound different.
Oh yeah, some are totally different guitars, even though they look very similar.
I mean, for comparison's sake, I could take two Fender Stratocasters that are the same, like model, make, and everything, and one's going to play and feel very different from the other. Because every piece of wood, I feel like, sounds a little different from the one right next to it.
Oh yeah, because they're cut from different cloth,
Yeah.
Each
So
instrument's unique.
we grabbed a few guitars laying around the store that all look very similar. That a lot of people just kind of write off and say they look too much alike for me to notice any difference between them. So Tim here is a much better guitar player than I am.
It's not saying too much.
And so I figure, let's sit down, let's highlight these differences, but let's, put them in a light and shed some light to them. That's going to make these guitars, I mean, they're phenomenal already.
Oh yeah.
There's not much more we have to do to
I've been playing them before this video, and all three of them are great guitars.
Yeah.
But he is right, they do each feel different, they each sound different. So we're excited to show you the kind of the differences between them, help you, maybe make a decision if you're saying, all these look the same, but how do they sound,
Exactly. So we're going to go through and do the clean setting for each guitar, and then we'll go through the dirty or overdrive setting, however you want to call it, the high gain. And
then we'll give you some specs on each guitar, and yeah, that should be good.
Very
so
cool.
We're playing through, just for the clean sound, we're playing the guitar into a Fender Blues Junior. Yeah, that's how it sounds.
Cool.
All right. So you got a pretty classic clean sound there. All right, I guess we'll switch over. I'm gonna hand this one to Jack. We're gonna try out this one. This is a Suhr. Pretty much the same guitar in terms of electronics. You got 3 single coil pickups. You got volume, then 2 tones, 5-way switch. Here's what this one sounds like. Also a great sounding guitar, nice and clear.
Yeah.
Feeling wise, comparing this one to the last one, the neck is, this one has a finished neck and this one does not. That's just goes down to a preference thing depending on what you like.
Yeah.
Feels pretty similar. This is a little bit fatter neck. This one's a 60s American original 60s Strat, so they do have a little bit fatter neck on them. compared to this, a little bit more modern feel.
But as far as woods go, both alder bodies, actually all three guitars that we're going to go over today, they all have an alder body and they all have maple necks. But the neck shapes are different. So whereas the Fender uses like it's got the 9.5 radius for the fretboard, whereas the Suhr guitars they're a compound fretboard radius, so it goes from 9 to 12.
Yep. So a little bit different feel there.
Yeah, and then
you definitely notice down here there's a little more. It's a little bit more room, I think, to play with. But again, that's all feels good in my hands. But that's all just
I could definitely
preference.
tell the difference in the electronics as far as like which pickups they're using. Because in the Fender, they're using just the pure vintage 65 pickups, and from Suhr, that's what they call the V60 LP. And to me, those sound like just a little bit beefier kind of sounding.
Yeah, a little bit more high gain, a little bit more modern. If you're looking for more of like a rock and roll kind of sound, I think this would be better equipped for that. But if you're looking for more like a classic, clean sound, I think that one would be a good one too. All right, so last but not least in the clean demos, we have the PRS Silver Sky. So
good old John Mayer signature.
That's right. So I can't quite play like John Mayer, even though some people say I look like him, but maybe that was back in high school when I was, 50 pounds lighter than I am now. Just wait for the amp to warm up, and then we'll show you how this one sounds. All right. Also sounded really good. Might be hard to tell in the recording, but I think this one was a little bit louder than the other two. Probably a little bit hotter pickups in there. Again, this one has like a satin neck finish, so it's a little bit more similar feeling to the Suhr over the Fender. Neck feels pretty similar to me too. I don't know the exact specs on them, but the one nice thing that it's hard to see from there on this one, it's got this like carving up here is really nice.
Oh, yeah,
you can get
the really nice bevel on the top.
Yeah, you can get your hands up a lot higher. It feels a little bit better in your hands. The neck joint is nice and contoured, so it feels a little more natural. But I mean, all three of them sounded really, really good.
Yeah, and this actually, out of all three of them, has the smaller fretboard radius on them. And so for me, like, I'm not much of a guitar player, but the satin neck, the smaller radius, and then that bevel down there on that horn of the guitar, that's like a whole new level of accessibility. So for anyone that does walk in and says, these guitars, they're too similar.
Yeah.
Like, you can easily just sit down and it's like, well, here's some of the major differences that affect your playability.
Oh, yeah. This one, I think, these two felt and sounded, I think, pretty similar. This one's a little bit of a different animal. Feels a little bit different, not as traditional. You got some nice modern things, and what you come to expect from PRS. It feels good in your hands. It feels like they designed it around playing it. And like I said, the pickups were a little bit louder, a little bit fatter sounding. Now we'll go through each one dirty. I'm just going to start with this one since I've got it in my hands right now. We'll go through each one just so you can hear the dirty sound, and then lastly, I'm just going to go through each one. I'm just going to play a chord and then just switch the pickup position so you can hear the different pickups and how it sounds. For all these, I've just been on the middle position. But we'll let you hear how each one sounds just so you can get a better idea of the versatility of each guitar. All right. For overdrive, we're having an Ibanez TS9, pretty classic overdrive pedal. Just running straight into the amp. So here's what it sounds like dirty. Sounds really good. Nice and fat sounding. Again, feels really good in your hands.
Yeah.
So we'll go move on over to the next one. I'm going to hand this one over to Jack, and I'm going to try this Suhr out. We're just going opposite order. Yeah, from swapping to the two, I can definitely feel this has the little bit bigger radius on it. All right, we'll just wait for the tubes to warm up, and then we'll let you hear this one, how it sounds dirty. Sounds really good to me.
Yeah.
This definitely has a lot more, I think, of a modern sound. When I first discovered Suhrs, I didn't know they made like Strats and things, and more like vintage style guitars. They have their S style, their T style, but I thought they made more like like shred guitars.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of carried over into these. Is that it's the very traditional looking, very traditional sounding, but it feels much more modern, much more like that, like rock and roll shred guitar.
And I think, also what I've noticed more is like I've discovered Suhr guitars from watching like the Instagram musicians and stuff, and the guys that are playing that, they're ranging everywhere from very like open ambient kind of tones, messing with a bunch of like tremolo, reverb, delay kind of stuff, up to the guy using the classic T or the classic S, because they do make this model with a humbucker in the bridge. So there's a few guys I follow on Instagram that are just doing like the shredding heavier kind of stuff with it. So overall, it's a very versatile guitar, and I feel like that compound fretboard radius just kind of opens that up for you to, do the playing on the lower end that opens things up, and then it's just a great guitar.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I do really like, and this again, it's just preference. I really like a satin neck finish, and this is like very much like it doesn't feel like there's any finish on there at all. So we'll move over lastly to the Fender, and then we will let you hear how that sounds through the overdrive. This is about as like classic a combination as you can get. I think a Fender guitar into a Fender amp through a tube screamer is. I mean, that's your Stevie Ray Vaughan tune right there.
Tale as old as time.
That's right. Yeah. I'm not going to play any Stevie Ray Vaughan because I'm not that good, but I think if that's the sound you're looking for, you got it right here.
That's the combo.
Also sounds really good. I think after playing all three through the dirty channel or through the overdrive, I think this and surprisingly this and the Suhr sound I think most similar to me.
Okay.
I think the PRS is a little bit different. I think it had a little bit more, just to my ears, a little bit more high end. But that's again, if you're looking for a beefier sound, definitely I think the beefiest one of them all is this Suhr over here to my left. But this one is also, I think, really...
And that tone, like that difference in tone, because you're right, like the PRS, the Silver Sky, sounded brighter to me. And I think that also kind of has more or less to do with John Mayer more than it does the build of the guitar.
Yeah.
Because, John Mayer is he's going to go down as like one of the best blues guitar players there is. And you want something crisp and clean that's going to cut through. Yeah. So if you're looking for a nice blues guitar or something that's really going to stand out above the rest, I feel like that's the way to go there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that high end, that nice brighter side of the gain options. I feel like that's the way to go if you're looking for that.
Yeah, I think so too. So I think each one of these guitars presents like kind of a different style. You know, they're not. They're easy to compare because they all look the same.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we're doing this video. But I think sound-wise and feel-wise, I think they're all fairly different.
Oh yeah.
And they each have a good role to play. Like you said, that one for the blues. I think this Suhr would be best for like rock and roll, or even you can go kind of into like the prog, or maybe even like if you get one of the ones with the humbucker, maybe even like some metal stuff with it too. Whereas this is more just your classic, you know, rock and roll, good for clean sound tones. You know, I think this one is very versatile and can cover a lot of areas.
Oh, of course. And I'm not saying that one is definitely like better than the other, because any one of these, like say talking about, you know, the PRS and the Suhr being used for certain genres, certain types of music. I mean, that toggle switch, all you got to do is switch to the pickups.
Yeah.
And you're looking at a totally different tone of availability.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Like, especially on the PRS, throw that switch down the bridge. You're ready to rock out.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
you're not strictly just tied to lead and you know, you're not sure the lead and blues rhythm kind of stuff. You know, throw it, mess around. You can crunch out some serious rocking out stuff on any one of these guitars. I mean, they're a classic rock guitar. Like that's what it is.
That's what they are. And speaking of toggle switch, we're going to go through that now. Just going to play some chords, you know, something basic so you can really hear the guitar. Switch through the different pickup configurations so you can just hear the differences, because like you said, they are very versatile. I'm just going to play this clean so you can just really hear the guitar and not anything else. So here we go. So this is the middle position that you've been hearing. I'm going to go up to the neck. And then down to the bridge. That, I think, was a big difference in that.
Yeah.
That's so much brighter down there. So again, I think this guitar is probably one of the more versatile ones. And then just the second position. And the fourth position. All right, so that's the Fender. I'm going to switch over. I guess I'll switch over to the PRS. Let you hear that one, the different pickup configurations, because that one is pretty crazy with it. I think there's a big difference in that toggle switch. You get a lot of power from
But
that.
a good crazy.
A good crazy, yeah. Not a bad crazy by any means. You definitely get a lot of versatility in it. All right, we'll just wait for it to warm up and let you hear how it sounds. This is the middle pickup that you've been hearing. Then up to the neck. Then down to the bridge. And then the second position. And then the fourth position. This bridge pickup sounds really, really good. So I think this one, this is where it really differs. I think, just especially compared to the Fender, is a lot of times you throw it into that bridge position. It's really a lot of high end on it. Good for like country, you know, kind of your southern rock, but not necessarily, you know, for all uses just because it's so bright. But this, I think you can get a lot of use out of just because of how it's still nice and clear and a lot of high end, but it's not like overwhelming.
Right. Yeah,
so I think you get a lot of versatility out of this. You know, just go from all different positions in those pickups. I think you can get a lot of sounds out of this.
Yeah, I definitely say that one. I don't know. I guess you could say it's got the full like wheelhouse of you know, sounds. Like it's, I feel like you can take that to any gig.
Yeah.
Any kind of spot, and you're gonna mesh and blend in very well.
Oh yeah, I would say so for sure. And then last but not least, we're gonna try the Suhr out. Let you hear the difference there. All right. Let's wait for it to warm up, and we'll let you hear how this one sounds. One thing I've noticed too on this guitar that's different from the other two is this one has locking tuners on it.
The PRS has
their version.
Yeah, their version of the locking tuners. They you know, their.
And then the Fender does not.
The Fender does not.
So if that's something you're looking for, then just something to note too. All right, so this is the middle position that you've been hearing. The neck position. And then lastly, well, not lastly, we still got the 2 and 4 positions, but this is the bridge. So I think this one feels pretty, or it sounds pretty similar to the Fender, and that it's the more kind of traditional sounding bridge pickup. So again, you know, if you're looking for that kind of classic tone, I think this is a really good version of that. Modern features, especially when it's overdriven, a little bit modern sound, but still got a bit of the classic sound in it. And then we'll just do the second position here. And then the fourth position.
Very nice.
All right.
So
there you have it.
Yeah, and as sitting here, I just realized that, you know, there's probably going to be questions of like, out of all the Fenders to pick, why is this the one that we chose? And for me, I feel like there's so many. There's so many Fender Strats to choose from. It's like, how do you narrow that down to just one to line up against such great guitars? So if you're curious about that, I encourage you to stop in and visit us, and we'll pull anything else down. And compare them. But that's the other thing was, I don't know, I feel like with so many, you know, Fender Strats out there, each one having, you know, different pickups, whether they're the noiseless or the vintage or just the pickups that come in the standards. You know, there's so many options there. Even with like the Player Series, you know, like the Mexican-made Player Series guitars, some of those are phenomenal little guitars too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But definitely, I think when a company can take their focus and their attention and put them into a limited run of a certain guitar,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to how many different ways can we make one.
Yeah.
My personal opinion, Fender's like the all-time true and classic that I'll probably always have like a little spot in my heart for.
Oh yeah. I own a Fender Strat personally, so I understand that.
So, but I think personally, the Silver Sky and the Suhr to me just stand out.
Yeah.
And they're definitely like, I could see these, outperforming a lot of other guitars out there. But if I had to go between the three of them, it'd definitely be between these two. That's just me personally saying, But again, they're all great. It'd be really hard to like sit there and just pick one.
Sure. And like I said, this is their original '60s one, so it's a little bit more vintage. You can go with one of their more modern voiced ones. We've got Signature Series. We have like the Edge Strat is.
I was actually going to say the Edge.
Yeah.
Because out of all the Fenders I've ever picked up in this store, that one, the neck on that one just fit right into my hand. That was a gorgeous fit of a guitar.
So we definitely do have a lot more guitars, especially Fender guitars. We do also have the Suhrs.
We have a couple of the Suhrs. We have the Classic S with the humbucker in it, and we recently got into Classic T.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the Silver Skies for now, they pretty much just come in that configuration. They come in a variety of colors.
Yep, and at NAMM, they just announced all the new colors, so we'll be getting those in soon.
Yep, so we'll have, configuration-wise, that's pretty much all you get, but they do have a lot of different colors coming in. But these have, the Fender ones, there's a million different Strat combinations out there, and this you have some different options as well.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if you're going for cosmetics, the looks, the options are definitely there.
We have options for everything. Yeah.
Oh, man. But yeah, several guitars from any of these brands, as well as amps and pedals. And so, if you want to come in, check some of the stuff out. Say you want to check one of these guitars out, but you use a Vox amp or you use an Orange. Maybe you play through a PRS amp. We have several amps to plug into and check out as well.
Not just the Fender. And if you have, specific pedals you want to try through too, like say you want to try any of these with some delay on it or some chorus or something like that, we've got that too. So
and we carry Boss, Strymon, Walrus, Earthquaker, Electro Harmonics. Like we've got a huge selection of stuff to be able to come in, and so it's I feel like comparison videos, comparison anything is great, but there's so many options out there, so many variables. So we encourage you guys, hit us up with questions. Give us a call, shoot us emails, come into the store, and we'll be gladly to set some stuff up for you so you can try out and figure out, what other options there are.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think that's about it.
I think we're good.
Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for putting up with some mediocre guitar playing.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Well,
this is why you did.
Everyone's entitled to their own opinion.
Well, this is why you did it instead of me. Yes.